Good evening, all out there, and welcome to our software recruitment webinar. I'm Mimi. I'm from the talent team here at DWP Digital. I'm part of a wider digital talent team. I also have my esteemed colleague Dean with me as well. Hello, Dean.
Hey, Mimi.
Hello. We also have Chris Clark here.
Hello.
Hello, Chris. And what do you do here at DWP Digital?
So I'm head of role for software engineering at the DWP.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for tuning in and engaging with our interactive webinar today. Now, this program will run for approximately 30 minutes. So we're going to be giving you an overview of who we are here at DWP Digital, what we do, and importantly, what our values and ambitions are. So hopefully you see that this is a fantastic place for you to work and you'd want to be a part of it. So you'll be working with others who care very passionately about public service and who really want to make a difference and deliver for our customers. So what's in store, you ask? Well, we'll let you know about our recruitment process as well as live vacancies in the software engineering team. But we would also love to hear from you. Now, as this is interactive, you can send in questions in real time and get those answered. So please feel free to type your comments via YouTube chat window or via our Twitter handle. So that's hashtag DWP Engineering Webinar. Please remember to include your name with your question in case we don't get to answer it here online. We do aim to answer all the questions here, but in case we don't, we'll address them a little bit later and send you a response over the next coming days. Now, to give you some background, DWP Digital is a community of digital professionals within the Department for Work and Pensions, which is the UK's largest government department. We are currently delivering a once-in-a-generation digital transformation of DWP's products and services. These services are used by millions of people every day, including some of the most vulnerable in our society. So our goal is to make these services easier to access and more efficient to deliver. We want to provide world-class services and to do what we need to bring in the best digital talent in the UK. Our specialist in-house recruitment team is responsible for finding and bringing in these people. We work very closely with managers and digital experts to really understand who and what we are looking for. We search the marketplace and build relationships with candidates who have the skills that we're looking for and who share our values. We tell people who might not, know what we do, who we are, why this is a great place to be and to work, and crucially, be a digital specialist. We're still evolving and improving, but we aim to give the best possible candidate experience. Now, we recruit under principles of fair and open competition. We just want the best possible person for each role. I'm now going to hand over to Dean.
Thanks a lot, Mimi. Hi, Chris. Thanks for joining us there. I know you're a busy man. I've got a couple of questions for you first. First is really just, perhaps you can start by telling us, what are the range of projects a software engineer can work on within the DWP?
So we're a large organisation, and as such we have a huge variety of projects. We have about 140 citizen-facing services and many, many more internal-facing services. So these range from things like integration platforms, cloud platforms, API gateways, citizens-facing front ends to internal automation tooling, underlying payment systems, test frameworks, all manner of goodness.
Excellent. So what does a typical day look like for any given software engineer?
So it's probably worth noting that I'm not sure if there is a typical day. We tend to work in cross-functional agile teams, which means the whole team will get involved in the whole project lifecycle, from scoping to building to delivery to going out in the field and testing.
Excellent.
Some of the things that are worth calling out are things like our commitment to kind of securing data. So we do have a relatively robust set of secure coding standards that our engineers are expected to work to. But our engineers are really there to drive technological outcomes, both in terms of internal kind of reuse and and portability and kind of for sort of citizen benefit at the end of the day.
Excellent. So working as a recruiter for DWP, I always get this question, and it's really just to ask about what our technology stack looks like. So how does that look for you in any of the roles that you're recruiting for?
Okay, so we use an awful lot of technology, as again our offering is fairly broad. So our new services tend to be developed in open source technology, things like Java, Node, vanilla JavaScript.
Yep.
We use NoSQL databases like Mongo for data storage. We have CI pipelines. We tend to use things like Jenkins to kind of orchestrate these. We containerize everything wherever possible using tools like Kubernetes to orchestrate that containerization. We run a cloud first strategy. We put everything in. So anything we can put out in the cloud, we will.
Excellent. So thanks for the summary of the vital work you do as well. So at the moment, one of the reasons we're doing this today is we've got a lot of these roles coming through, about 50 roles coming up through in the software engineering space. Can you tell us more about these roles, these critical roles, and what you're looking for?
Okay, so we have roles across all experience levels, for people starting out in their career to technology leaders who would be expected to really kind of drive business and technical outcomes across a portfolio of work and kind of sit on top of multiple teams of people. Again, this is generally around kind of engineering for these 50 roles, again using open source technologies that I mentioned earlier, and working across all of our hubs, across our entire range of portfolio work, from our underlying data platforms to services for people of working age, to retirement, to universal credit, all manner of things.
Excellent. Can you tell us some of the key technical skills that you look for some of these roles? Are there themes that keep running, like Java, etc., that you keep seeing that you need?
Yeah, so I've discussed a little bit around the technology stack. There are probably a few other things that are worth mentioning. We use kind of modern practices like test-driven development and behavioural-driven development.
Yep.
So experience and exposure to kind of modern software best practice is never bad. It's important that we look for people's ability to problem solve and think creatively, as much as their ability to kind of demonstrate knowledge of a particular framework. And what's also important is the kind of underlying programming fundamentals rather than knowledge of a particular tool.
Excellent. And another part of this, what we look for as recruiters, what are those soft skills? So what are those non-technical skills that you really look for from any given candidate?
So as I mentioned, we run collaborative cross-functional teams. So skills around teamwork are absolutely essential. The ability to collaborate with others to drive outcomes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Chris. We're going to discuss more in depth. Please don't forget to tweet your questions at hashtag DWP Engineering Webinar, ready for our upcoming Q&A segment. Back over to you, Mimi.
Thank you, Dean. So what's the best way to apply for a role at DWP Digital, you ask? Where do we advertise? Well, we do advertise in lots of places. You can find all our current roles on our DWP Careers website, civil service jobs, LinkedIn. We also use job boards like Total Jobs and JobServe. The links to our careers website can be found in the description below. Now guys, please remember to send your questions via YouTube chat window, or on Twitter using the handle hashtag DWP Engineering Webinar. So, if you ever want to apply, click the easily identifiable apply button on those adverts, and you'll be redirected to an online application portal where you can complete an online application. Now, unfortunately, we can't accept directly emailed CVs or anything offline, so you'll have to apply via the website. Questions, queries, general enthusiasm for the advert copy, description of roles, there should always be a named contact on our adverts, so get in touch and we'll do our best to answer. You can contact the recruitment team and have an initial non-committal chat about the role and how to get the most out of your application. So now for some tips. Make sure you read any notes and instructions and use the application form to give the best possible demonstration of what it is that we're describing in the advert. So you need to demonstrate that you've got the skills and experience by showing us what you've done and how you've done it in your CV and personal statement. Once you've applied, our policy embodies fair and open competition rules. So this means that every single application is viewed anonymously. So it's viewed anonymously by the hiring manager in the portal. So please remember to remove your name first and foremost, but also any identifiers to your identity. So, are you Mr. or Mrs.? You can include your role, current role titles, company name, and time you spent there. So, if successful, you'll be invited to book your interview online, and we'll basically provide some slots, and you can just go in there and choose one. So the recruitment process, we certainly aim to make it pretty swift. If you've got the skills, we'll send you a coding test to complete, and when you've done that, if you've passed, we'll invite you for a single face-to-face interview and make a decision and hopefully an offer. So don't worry about not finding out about the status of your interview application. Once we've considered everybody, we'll inform you of the next steps as soon as we can, and this is normally within a few days after your interview. So I'm going to hand back over to Dean now.
Thanks, Mimi. So as we're collecting your live questions, we're just going to discuss some common questions that often come into us here that we get as recruiters. So while we talk about these, it'll be a good opportunity for you to send in any questions that you do have to our Q&A. We're often asked, what do the offices look like? And we've got six major hub locations. These are Leeds, London, Newcastle, Sheffield, Blackpool and Manchester. Each of our hubs is a modern, vibrant workplace that was designed for and by the members of our digital community, so they're all amazing places to work. They have the best of their respective locations on their doorsteps, and they all have a range of facilities from cool cafes, coffee shops, restaurants, to access to indoor activities, football, swimming, gym facilities and ping pong. So lots of stuff to do, including breakout areas and many places to recharge and really just chill out. Back over to you, Mimi.
Thank you. So we've invested heavily in creating amazing agile workspaces to fuel the creative process. We provide the latest tech and tooling and foster a collaborative culture to help our agile teams want them to think big, try new things. So working for DWP Digital means you'd be working alongside people who really care passionately about public service and making a difference in delivering to our customers and for our customers. Please don't forget, we're the UK's largest government department with around 85,000 people, so super diverse and really brilliant people in the various teams. We're very much an equal opportunity employer, and we welcome applications regardless of age, gender, race or sexuality. As an organisation, we really just believe in developing our teams and and the culture as well. And at this point, I'm going to hand over back to Dean and Chris to discuss a little bit about the career opportunities and culture that we're trying to build and foster in our software engineering community.
Thanks, Mimi. Chris, a few more questions for you. The first one is really just to ask if you wouldn't mind explaining to our viewers about the potential to develop their career within DWP and what potential pathway they might take once they're with us.
Okay, so the first thing to mention is we are obviously a large organisation. Mm-hmm. So in terms of scale of opportunity, scale to develop and ability to kind of really make your mark technologically, there is masses of opportunity. Yeah. So we have many different engineering roles, very clearly defined career progression routes across those roles. We have various forms of formal and informal training. We have subscriptions to services like Pluralsight. We run classroom sessions.
Excellent.
We're very heavily invested in day-to-day things like pair programming, which really, for me, is probably the most important day-to-day way of ensuring we're continuing to develop all our engineers, irrespective of level of knowledge and experience that they might have.
Sure.
Excellent. Another thing that we're asked regularly is, what opportunity is there for people to upskill and really progress within their specialism, whether it be Java development or something like that? What opportunities are there?
Sure. So again, there's all the formal training that helps them become ready for opportunities. We're constantly evolving as an organisation, digitising new services, looking at our portfolio, rationalising our infrastructure. So there are always new avenues to explore, and the community kind of helps our engineers to come together and think of kind of creative ways to try and address some of those challenges.
Excellent. Being the head of role for software engineering, I'm sure you have a big view about this next question. It's in regards to what does the community of software engineers look like? What kind of backgrounds do they come from? What kind of experience do they have? Is it a variety? What does that look like?
Okay, yeah, it's absolutely a variety. So we have about 600 engineers across the various disciplines across the organisation. They come from all sorts of backgrounds. So we have people who've traditionally come through kind of comp sci type degrees and come straight from university, people who are self-taught, people who've pivoted in career from other technical or non-technical backgrounds, people who come from operational roles who we've trained up internally in the DWP.
Nice.
People from the private sector who fancied a career change at various stages in their career. So it's and people from all sorts of different sort of social backgrounds and so on. So it's a real mix.
Brilliant. So, and in terms of that mix, what kind of opportunities are there for those people to meet up and share ideas and network with the different teams?
So we have a strong engineering community. We have hub leads at each of our locations who help kind of coordinate the various events and gatherings. We do lots of things like brown bags and lunch and learns.
Yep.
We do hack days, we get vendors and suppliers in to give talks, we run conferences, we also have the cross-government digital communities to lean on, who run all sorts of events and kind of communication channels.
Excellent. Thanks for fleshing it out for us a bit. Chris,
Very welcome.
Back over to you, Mimi.
Thank you, Dean. So, well, here at DWP Digital, we really recognize, the complexity and potential tensions between, family life and your work priorities. So, we are committed to providing you with reasonable personal freedom and, an ability to balance those priorities successfully. And, this hopefully should enable you to contribute fully to delivering first-class public service. So with regards to flexible working hours here at DWP Digital, we aim to definitely promote diversity and inclusion, and recognize that employees have to have reasonable control over their working hours. So we're definitely committed to that, and we understand that this contributes to effective delivery of the business objectives. So what does this mean? Whether you're a new parent or you need to organize childcare or school pickup, care for an elderly parent, or you're a carer for someone, you need flexibility, and we can offer that in your schedule, where we can. So this means that you can vary your start and or finish times. Okay. You can vary the length of and timing of your lunch breaks. You can accrue flexi credit and deficits. You can take time off under, policy of ours that we call special circumstances and needs. Now, we do offer a generous pension package and some great online benefits. And this includes, discounts for family social events and some key UK attractions. I personally love Thorpe Park, so yeah. These still all link with regular working patterns of 37 hours per week, commitment for full time, but we can also offer pro rata opportunities as well. So our family friendly policies, as I mentioned, it's the guiding principle is an understanding of general life commitments. Now, please don't forget that if you have a specific question, please type away now. We're happy to answer. So on Twitter, the handle is #DWP Engineering Webinar. I'm now going to hand back over to Dean.
Thanks, Mimi. So yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks out there as well. We've received a couple of questions. So first one is quite techie, and it's do we do systematic analysis as in John Gall? I thought it might say systematic, but it definitely says systematic.
Systematic analysis of what?
There isn't much more than that, and that's from Stephen.
Stephen, if you're still listening,
If you could provide a little bit more context, that would be much appreciated, please.
We've got another question here. Question from Scott. It says, "Hi guys, I'm a front-end developer, currently working in a university web team in the Northwest. I'm in my early 40s and slightly worried that I might be too old to apply. Can you please advise?" We would definitely say, just from a recruitment perspective, you're not too old to apply at all. We have fair and open recruitment for that. But over to you, I guess you say the same as that.
Of course,
yeah, exactly.
not at all. I mean, we when it comes to age distribution, we actually do have the widest mix of anywhere where I've worked at the various private and public sector organisations I've worked, and we great. It doesn't matter what stage you're at in your career or life. As long as you can do the job and you have the correct skills, we would absolutely love to hear from you. And in fact, we do have Northwest front end roles coming up, so please do apply.
Please.
There you go.
So another question online: how do we deal with sensitive data and information? How do we protect sensitive data and information?
So obviously, there's only so much I can talk about this, but we do have some very clear set secure coding standards. We make sure all data is encrypted. We make sure that access to data is very limited, and obviously it does form a central part of how we develop code.
Yeah. Another one here is, through the application process, are there any tests that you have to do?
Yes, so we do a relatively light touch remote test after CV Sift. The aim of this is to try and replicate the type of work that you'll be doing day to day on a service. But it's not particularly onerous, and it's your chance to show us as an engineer what you can do.
Excellent. Just wondering, is there any other questions at all, Oliver, at all, do you know?
Coming through.
I've got one. How many interviews do you usually go through the process? So is there multiple interviews, or is it just a one face-to-face interview process?
So it's just a single face-to-face interview.
Yeah.
Where we'll kind of talk through technical skills, experience.
And usually do you do phone interviews or anything like that as well?
Not currently, no. Just the remote technical test.
So quite a streamlined process then, in terms of that kind of just one interview.
Yes, definitely.
And in terms of that, the timings of that, is it quite a long time before they'll find out, or is it usually a couple of week turnaround from interview to the offer stage?
So we can move pretty fast, and we'd try and get feedback back to a candidate within sort of 48 hours, 2 working days. And if we did want to progress it, we try and get an offer out as soon as we possibly could.
Of course.
But we appreciate it's a fast-moving market,
of course,
and we try and react to it as quickly as we can.
Brilliant, thanks, Chris. Another question from Cash, and they're asking when are these roles coming out? So
they're live.
Yeah, many of them are live already, aren't they? The software
they are live now. Yes. Yeah. So we have roles at all levels, from junior to lead engineer, at all of our hubs other than Sheffield. I mean, it's a mixed distribution across the hubs.
Yeah.
But please go and take a look. They're all online on civil service jobs now.
Yes. I think it should be in the description below. So have a look.
Excellent. Any more questions, anyone? And please feel free to send in any questions to us now. We've got Chris here to answer any of those questions for you, so please send anything through. So we were talking about, they were saying about 50 roles, and you were saying that it's a mixture of all types. So if I was to ask, are there junior roles in there as well? If someone's fresh out of university, is there going to be a type of role for those kind of people as well? Or how does it look at it on that side of things?
Yeah, definitely. We do have a mix of roles across all ability levels, from people who are just starting out. They might be graduates, they might be self-taught, as we said before. Yeah. Again, all the way up to experienced technical leaders who we'd expect to kind of really drive technological outcomes across quite a large portfolio of work.
Excellent. Brilliant. I'm just going to have a look and see if there's any more questions.
Okay.
Doesn't look like we've got anything at the moment. Yep. So yeah, I mean, anything else that you'd like to discuss really in terms of with our audience about, you know, what kind of projects you've got, if you can't discuss the projects per se, anything about, you know, what it is like to really come and work for us, you know, what kind of things that you might do, what, you know.
So I think there's probably a couple of things that I'd like to call out. Firstly is that we have a very clear purpose.
Okay.
You know, we work to deliver citizen-facing services that have real tangible benefits for people. It's not delivering value to shareholders or anything like this.
Yeah.
The other thing is the scale of what we're doing. We write and produce services that are used by millions of adults. We have huge amounts of data of all varying sorts of sensitivity that we have to deal with. It's unusual for anyone to be able to find another organisation outside of government where you'd be able to work at the same scale and with so much impact. So if we look kind of beyond the technology itself, there is huge opportunity, I believe.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that's always mentioned, I'm sure you get the same with being a recruiter, is the scale from hiring managers saying that if people come and join us, they'll get the ability to really work at scale, and that's really like a string to their bow, so to speak, going forward.
Absolutely.
And the impact.
Yeah. In terms of the service users as well, and you know who we're kind of providing our services for, we're talking about some of the most vulnerable people in society, aren't we? So you know, I know often when we're looking at job roles, we're not looking at something that's going to, you know, you're doing good for people, but this is actually genuinely, you're really helping out some of those most vulnerable people and provide them with critical services. I guess that's part of it as well.
Yes, yeah, undoubtedly, and we probably have we as engineers do have the ability to kind of spend the time to craft the correct solutions to solve these problems for these kind of various vulnerable people that we do have to support.
Excellent. And did you talk earlier on about the structure of the teams? Is it quite a flat reporting structure? Is there kind of like a lead engineer with 6 or 7 people behind them, or is it kind of like all part of a larger kind of community and team?
So there are probably a few important things to call out there. The teams, where possible, are kind of empowered to find their own ways of working and deliver what's best for them. However, there are obviously lead engineers and so on and so forth who are there to help guide and shape solutions and help kind of develop and support more junior colleagues. But irrespective of whatever level people join at, they are very much part of the team and can contribute to solutions and to technological implementations. It won't necessarily be dictated down from an individual in a team or in a development unit.
So quite a kind of dynamic reporting structure.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Brilliant. I'm just going to check to see if we've got any more questions.
Chris, I'm sure you guys have a lot of fun as well, right? You know, you're very collaborative, and in terms of the way it's set up, you're very communicative and things as well, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. And that doesn't necessarily contain itself to within engineering. It's very important that obviously we communicate and collaborate with all the other professions. Even more importantly, that we reach out and communicate directly with users. So I'm very keen in making sure all our engineers go out into the field and actually see their services in use, so they can understand some of the challenges that service users, be they citizens or other colleagues, actually experience when using the things that you've built. And so you can actually see the benefits of what you built. It becomes kind of a bit more tangible, I suppose.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Excellent. Chris, thanks a lot. We're going to close the webinar now, as we're close to time. Many thanks to everyone for looking in on us today. The option to post questions will remain for a few minutes after this closes, so please send anything through and we will come back to you and answer it. Just make sure you leave your name with any questions and we'll get back to you individually. Again, from Chris, Mimi and myself, many thanks. We look forward to seeing all your applications for our roles, and hopefully we'll speak to you soon.
Oh, and Stephen, please do send in your question. We really do want to respond to you and answer you. So,
Take care, have a great night.
Thank
you all.
you.